Good morning, and welcome to Morning Gospel Fuel with Mr. G. It is yesterday, Wednesday, July 21st. The 16th, well, depends on when you watch this. Anyway, it's Wednesday, July 21st for their Gospel, and it's the 16th Wednesday of Ordinary Time, and it is the feast day of Saint Lawrence of Brindisi, who he was a priest, theologian, and distinguished as a doctor of the church. And he was born in Italy, that is where Brindisi is, and he died in Portugal at the age of 60 in the year 1619. And he was ordained a priest at 23 years old. That's pretty young. But he also died young, seemingly, at 60. I don't think 60 is that old. If it is, that means I'm over halfway there. So, oh well. Anyway, today's gospel is from Matthew chapter 13, verses 1 through 9. Let's begin in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, amen. On that day, Jesus went out of the house and sat down by the sea. Such large crowds gathered around him that he got into a boat and sat down, and the whole crowd stood along the shore. And he spoke to them at length in parables, saying, A sower went out to sow. And as he sowed, some seed fell on the path, and birds came and ate it up. Some fell on rocky ground where it had little soil. It sprang up at once, because the soil was not deep, and when the sun rose it was scorched, and it withered for lack of roots. Some seed fell among thorns, and the thorns grew up and choked it. But some seed fell on rich soil and produced fruit 100 or 60 or 30-fold. Whoever has ears ought to hear. Alright, so we've got the parable of the sower, which I believe is in all four Gospels. This one's seemingly shorter. Yeah, and we've heard this parable. Make sure we have a strong foundation. We have some good soil. We nurture it properly, and that's the way our faith is. It's all about the foundation. The similar to the builder who built his house on sand versus a builder who built his house on stone or concrete. Like which one has a stronger foundation to withstand all of the turmoil that goes on around us, and also what you can all produce relative to the parable of the sower and the seed. And Jesus just wants us all to be so deeply rooted in faith that we produce so much, and it's all up to Him, because it is it's our job to be deep rooted in faith, but then it's up to God to see where that brings you and see how that's effect can and will have on other people. I think, and that's something that my challenge is, and as well as all of us, like if you're watching these videos, most likely you're doing pretty good with your faith life, and always striving to do more, right? But then at the same time, we put too much pressure on ourselves. That am I doing enough? Am I doing enough? And am I doing enough? Then we start to doubt and question, and then we're never satisfied and thinking that we have to. Like, are we doing enough? Are we bearing enough fruit? Am I leaving a big of enough impact for those around me, or even those not around me? And so we just play in these mental mind games. But Jesus tells us that as long as we have rich soil and we have a deep rooted faith, everything else will take care of itself. It is God's job to use you, in which He will, and in which He is, to produce fruit 100 or 60 or 30-fold. And so I think that's the challenge, is just to trust more. That is, and I'm speaking to myself, just to trust that God is doing more through you to other people than what you think. And just not to be stressed about it, and not to think that you have to work or earn God's love and mercy, because He gives it to us freely. That's why He died on the cross. As long as we stay tight, close to Him, and put Him first, everything else will take place. Will take care of itself. So that's the challenge, is to make sure our ears are here to listen and to hear Him in prayer. And I think that's why the final verse says, whoever has ears ought to hear. So as long as we make sure that we're keeping our ears open and we're taking our time to listen to Him in prayer, production will be made. It's not our job, it's God's job. So don't put that burden on yourselves. Have a great day. God bless, and keep it real. In the name of the Father, Son, and Spirit, amen.